Hello and welcome to week 3 of Rewiring Your Brain for Happiness. Last week we talked about thoughts, and this week we're going to dive even deeper into thoughts. So we're going to start. I wanted to share something about fear before we start, as just a way to help you maneuver through moments of fear. So whenever you take on your life, or when you take on things that are important to you, or when you're changing or transforming, something to know is that fear is going to arise. There's no way around it. It will be here, and it will show up as body sensations. It will show up as thoughts, stories, repeated brain patterning, and it will show up even in kind of like unconscious behavior, right? So maybe emotional eating, or maybe lashing out, or shutting down. And those three places you can really see it. You can also see it in your emotions. If your emotions are more up and down, or if you're having a very strong emotion and it kind of comes on quickly or it comes on unexpectedly, these are all things that you can begin to notice and pay attention to. Oh, I'm having kind of intense body sensation. What's the body sensation? Tingling in the belly, sweaty palms, tight jaw, heaviness in the chest, right? You begin to notice the body. And then same with the mind. So we began watching thoughts last week, and we're going to continue watching thoughts. But thoughts really can perpetuate fear. When we believe our thoughts versus us just recognizing that we're having thoughts, that's the thin line that if you're on one side of the fence, you have a very different experience than being on the other side of the fence. When you realize, oh, I'm just having fearful thoughts. I'm having thoughts I won't succeed. I'm having thoughts somebody is better than me. I'm having thoughts that I'm not good enough. I'm having thoughts that I'm going to lose money, whatever it is. Labeling, oh, I'm having fearful thoughts. That's a very different side of the fence than over here when you believe the fearful thoughts and you kind of allow them to run rampant and wild. And then all of a sudden you notice you've completely shut down. You haven't answered any of your phone calls. You're emotionally eating. You're in the spiral. No problem. We all go into the spiral. The spiral's not a bad place to be. It's a place to learn about yourself. And you can begin noticing and watching these things before you go into the spiral. So I love this acronym of fear. Future event appearing real. Fear, F-E-A-R. Future event appearing real. And today I was having my own fear arise. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of the process I used to work through my fear. And the fear's not gone. Remember, we're not trying to make the fear go away. We're not trying to avoid fear. We're learning when fear arises how to meet it and work with it skillfully, almost like a dance, versus this running away from it or fighting against it, hard fighting against it. We're learning to work with the fear. So today, I had fear arise, and I decided, like a lot of times when I have fear, that, okay, sit with it and really put the fear in front of me. So I was sitting and I put the fear in front of me. I really saw what the fear was. Okay, I was having a fear about not being good enough. I was having a fear about being left. I was having a fear about abandonment. And I really put it in front of me. And I allowed myself to sit with it, to see it. And it conjured up some body sensations, so I sat with those. And it conjured up some thoughts and some, beliefs and storylines in my mind, so I watched those. And then I just allowed it to be there. I said, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And the more that we can lean into the fear, really get to know it, understand it, allow it to be here, it stops controlling us, and we're allowed to just move in the face of it. It can still be here, no problem. And you can begin to move and still look at it, like move forward, and the fear is still here. Okay, hi fear, I'm going to keep moving forward. So I have the fear, and I sat with it, and I sat with it for probably, 10 minutes, and I just sat, and I let it come up, and I just had awareness of whatever it brought up. Thoughts, okay, these thoughts, okay, I see them. These body sensations, okay, I see them. Not needing to fix it, not needing to change it, just allowing it to be. It's a part of who you are too. No problem, it's a part of who you are too. And the other thing that it conjured up in me was compassion. Compassion toward myself for being a human being, and compassion toward the other, of like, yeah, I get it, and I don't want to create separation. I want to create more togetherness. More togetherness. So then I was actually able to reach out to the person and send really kind, loving words, and create that connection again. Remember, we're always in the duality of shutting down, opening up, shutting down, opening up, right? Normal. No door stays open forever, right? We open it, we close it. Same with windows. Same with the oven. Same with the fridge. Same with friendships. You see them a lot, and then maybe there's a short time where you don't see them a lot, right? It's the same. It's the same. And our hearts are the same. It's okay that they begin to shut down. It's okay that we begin to close. No problem. And the second that we realize it, and we bring awareness to it, and we sit with it, and we nurture it, it slowly begins creating the opportunity to reopen. So I want to just extend that to you. In today's session, we're going to be talking about fear. And what are the top fears that you have? And where do they show up in the body? And what stories come along with them? What thoughts come along with them? And how to begin just sitting with that. Knowing that it's just a part of being human. It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean anything about your goal. It doesn't mean anything about your life. It's just, no matter what, if you take on your life, fear will arise. This is normal. Completely 100% normal. And we can learn to be skillful in the face of fear. We can learn that fear arises in our thoughts and our body sensations and our emotions and our behavioral patterns, no problem. And then we can learn to work with them skillfully. See them, become aware of them. Oh, fearful thoughts are here. Fearful behavior is here. I'm emotional eating. Fearful emotion is here. Fearful body sensations are here. And being with them skillfully. So let's go more into thought. So last week we talked about just like watching your thoughts, watching the 16,000 thoughts that you have every single day. And then I taught you how to kind of work with them like picking fruit at the grocery store. Well, today we're going to talk about strong thoughts, intense thoughts, the thoughts that they come and they persist. They kind of repeat, right? And we all have them. So same thing, no problem. We all have them. And it's okay. It's normal. And what we do with those thoughts is key to how we can move forward. So thoughts arise in present moment. And the way that we respond to what's arising in any present moment is what creates our future. So currently we're talking about thoughts, when thoughts arise, what to do and how to respond to them so that we can create the future that we want to create. So the Buddha says that sometimes there are thoughts that will not go away, even if we choose to act like they're just fruit, or if we have awareness of them, or if we label them, sometimes they won't go away. So he says that you have to start becoming intense with the thoughts. You have to meet the intensity of the thought. So if the thought is intense and repetitive and won't go away, you meet the thought with the same amount of intensity. And the practice can be this. So let's say you're having the thought that's like, you're not good enough. You're going to be left. It's not okay. You're going to fail. Whatever it is, right? It arises and it stays. Maybe it stays for an hour. Maybe it stays for a half a day. Maybe it stays for a full day until you finally realize, right? So there it is. It's intense. You've practiced. You've tried to set it aside. Okay, that's a thought. You've tried to replace it with a thought that's more true, or your mantra. And it persists, and you've gotten obsessed with it. No problem. We all do that. We all do it. No problem. So we can just own, okay, I'm caught in a persistent pattern. I'm caught in this, ongoing storyline. I'm caught in this fearful thought. And then what you can begin doing is you can begin saying, no. No. Thank you, thought, for coming. No, you are not welcome here. No, you are not true. You are not welcome. Please see your way out. You are not welcome. So there's two parts of this. One, you already acknowledged it. So you acknowledged it. You're not running from it. You're seeing it. And the Buddha says that the thoughts you actually entertain is your responsibility. To understand how the mind works is just to understand that we have lots and lots of thoughts, and a lot of them are not relevant, and a lot of them are not true, and a lot of them have no place. And the more that you abruptly meet them and say, no, I see you, no, I'm not going to believe you, I'm going to keep moving forward, no. Can you feel how meeting it with intensity will begin to right? It begins to break it apart. You begin to retake ownership over your mind. You begin to change the brain patterning. So I want to talk about brain patterning for a second. Okay, so brain patternings that persist or are repeated, whatever, kind of our stories are. And if you want to know your stories, go to the freedom circles, look in your stories. I guarantee you'll have repeats. I guarantee you'll have repeats. Freedom circles just shows us our patterns. It shows us the repetitive things in our mind that we make up that disempower us. So, how brain patterning works is the things that are repeated most often, they work like water in the brain. When water travels a same course for a long time, it carves deeper and deeper and deeper into the earth. And to actually change the direction of that water takes work. It takes energy. So let's say the water, it's carved deep, right? It's going down this path of I'm not good enough. It's going down the path of I'm not going to succeed. It's going down the path of talking negatively about yourself, whatever the path is. Whatever that deeply carved pattern. Remember, it's not personal. We all have the deep, dark patterns. It's not personal. Most people that I have ever worked with have a few storylines. I'm not good enough. I'm going to be abandoned. People are going to leave me. I'm never going to be successful. I'm never going to get what I want. There are very much repeated patterns in society. No problem. No problem. It's not personal to you. It probably occurred in your childhood, and now you're kind of walking through life with it. It's kind of like that carrying the chair. It's like carrying the past, carrying that pattern, and you're just walking around life with a chair behind you, and you're wondering why it's hard. It's no problem. And the changing the pattern, right? So it's carving deeper, deeper. The more you repeat it, the more you say it, the more you believe it, the more you keep owning it like it's true. That's the repeated pattern. That's the digging the hole. That's the deep crevice for the water to flow through. That's what's going on in the brain. That's the neural pathway. It's a deep carved neural pathway. No problem. We can begin to change it. And how you begin to change it is every time you say, oh, there's a fearful thought. There's a thought of my unworthiness. There's an insecure thought. Whatever thought it is. There it is. That is like putting a rock or something that's beginning to divert the water in a different direction, begins breaking the pattern and changing it so it can go in a different direction. And then what you do next is key. Key. So mindfulness, taking different action, and compassion. Mindfulness, recognizing that it's just a thought, recognizing that it's a fearful thought, that's very skillful, recognizing that it's an insecure thought, very skillful. No problem. No need to make yourself wrong. Every human being walking this earth is having them. I have them all the time. And it's my relationship with them that makes the difference. It's not that I don't have them. It's my relationship to them, and when they arise, what I do. So a fearful thought arises, I'm not good enough. That's one for me. That's very much my thought. Or I'm a bad person. That's another one that I have. So it arises, oh, insecure thought is here. Okay, no problem. And then I begin, saying more truths to myself. You're whole, you're complete, you're perfect. You are whole, you are complete, you are perfect. And then I begin nurturing. I ask the question, what does this part of you that's believing this thought, what does it need? And I listen. Sometimes it just needs to be held like this. Sometimes it needs to be told, it's okay. Sometimes it needs to be told, you're on the right track. Sometimes it needs to be told, go get it, girl. Whatever it needs in that moment. And then I ask myself, okay, what needs attending to? What do I actually need to be doing? What am I fearful of, and what action do I need to take? So how we interact with the thoughts, right? So if it's a persistent thought, this is the key. No. And then you can go in and nurture, okay, what does this part of myself need? And then what action is next for me to take? What action is next for me to take? Maybe it's sitting. Maybe it's sitting with the fear and being gentle. Maybe it's compassionately comforting yourself. Maybe it's curling in fetal position and putting tea on the stove to get ready and just sitting and comforting. Maybe it's emailing the person you know you're supposed to email. Maybe it's making that phone call that you know you need to make. Maybe it's checking one of your milestones off on your list. Whatever it is, taking a different action. And that's how you begin carving a new neural pathway. Your brain begins to go, oh, we're not going to go down the same path? Oh, okay. And the more repetitively that it starts going this way, because that's the only way we know is that it starts happening. So there's no problem that it happens. We need it to happen. So when it starts happening, you see it. The second you see it, you bring awareness. If it's not persistent, you can practice just, placing it aside. But if it's persistent, saying no, doing some comforting of self. What does this part of you need that has this persistent, deep fear? Connecting to yourself. There's a lot of ways to add comfort, to do nurturing. You can do touch, you can do talk, you can imagine a comforting presence like a friend or a spiritual leader or whoever. You can also, bring in the essence of an animal too. That's a great one. You can also put yourself in some place mentally like in nature. Or you can go take a walk, go do some comforting actions. You can drink tea, take a bath, take a walk, call your best friend, call your mother, whatever is comforting to you. And then you take an action step that moves you toward what you want, that moves you toward what you're committed to. The key to success in living is being able to take action through how you're feeling, not denying how you're feeling, but being able to see it, the awareness of it, be able to work with it skillfully, and continue taking the action steps toward what you want. Toward what you want. If we only did things when we felt like it, we would do nothing. Well, that's not true. We would do some things, and then there would be a lot of things we wouldn't do. And maybe you've had that experience in life. There's been lots of things you wanted to do, and because you didn't feel like it, or you felt resistant to it, or you felt like you wanted the sugar, or you felt like whatever it was, it kept you from taking action steps. It kept you from moving forward. No problem. My computer's going to time out every time. No problem. It's going to happen, no problem. And it's going to arise. And by you taking action aligned, by you showing up to it, not being afraid of it, showing up to it, setting it in front of you, feeling it, understanding it, befriending it, you begin to carve a different neural pathway. So if you have questions, you can always email me, KimberlyEliseJohnson@gmail.com. Elise is spelled ALLYSE. You guys should have my email. Or go to KimberlyCoaching.com and you can write me in the comments in the contact page. But let me know if you need support this week. Thoughts are one of the craziest things that stop us. They stop us. And they're just thoughts. You are far more than those thoughts. And how do I know this? How do I know this? Because if those thoughts weren't there, you would still be here. They're just thoughts. They're patterning. No problem. Okay, go get it. Let me know if you need anything. See you next week.